of Davie Real Estate, and I'm just going to let him take the floor now.
Thanks very much. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Yvan, for inviting me today. I'm going to talk about the basically an economic update today, and then we're going to talk a little bit about some tips as well on branding and marketing and what to do in this market right now. So obviously this is a different market than what many of you are used to, and it's been so for about 1.5 years now.
I do want to let you can give a little bit of a detailed introduction, how many years you have worked and what is your exact job, if I can use that word. What do you do?
Sure. So I'm the broker of record of a real estate brokerage that focuses on being the listing broker for high-rise condo towers and for subdivisions for developers. And I've been practicing real estate for over 3 decades. I also have worked in resale, land acquisitions, commercial, property management, leasing, pretty much every aspect of the industry. I work in as well, but my specialty is selling high-rise condo towers. So, for example, right now, many of you will have heard of Edge Towers and Oro at Edge Towers, 35, 40, and 50-story tower there. G1.
So, one is in the towers right opposite the square one.
Yep.
And the other ones are
right in downtown Brampton, right by the across from the GO train station. We have Bristol Place, 2 39-story towers. And right now we also have some great deals on assignments for Edge Tower 2 in Mississauga. So Edge Towers are right by Square One. Those are starting to occupy now. Up till about March of next year, they're occupying. We have 3 units that came back from Edge Tower 1 that just had registration closing December. Brand new units on those 3. We have a 3.99% mortgage available for your clients if they want to buy, and we've waived the closing costs, which is like, what, $25,000 in savings, I guess, as well as saving money on the mortgage as well. So we have 3 units in there that are on MLS that are great opportunities for your clients. And then, of course, we have some inventory left at Edge Tower 3, which is Oro in Mississauga, and then, as I mentioned, Bristol Place. I just want to show you a quick 2 or 3 minute video. And, you know, we as real estate agents and as lawyers, as mortgage brokers, we all have to brand ourselves differently from everyone else so that people will choose us. And so I just want to show you this quick video about Bristol Place. You're going to notice I'm going to talk about a few different things that really set Bristol Place apart from all the other projects in pre-construction, and also the builder Solmar Developments, how I set them apart as well. So I'm just going to show you this video, and then we'll get into the economic update, okay? Welcome to Solmar Development Corporation's Bristol Place condominium, soon to be the tallest residential buildings in the city of Brampton. I'm Scott Davie, a listing broker. We're now launching the first building. The typical suites will be comprised of 1 bedroom, 1 plus den, and 2 bedroom suites. There'll be larger suites in both the penthouse and in the podium. It's just steps to the Brampton Innovation District, a futuristic center for startups, new tech businesses, and 4 universities and colleges. The Innovation District will transform downtown Brampton into the GTA's largest technology hub. This will create a high number of new jobs and attract a high number of new students. Plus, Rogers recently announced a plan to build a brand new $100 million head office in the heart of downtown Brampton. This will further add to the energy and the opportunity in this already fast-growing district. The area also has an abundance of local shops, local cafes, parks, museums, and other great amenities. Look at this amazing project. Another important factor contributing to success is the proximity to public transit. Bristol Place is the only pre-construction condo in Brampton within walking distance to the downtown GO train station with quick access to Union Station. It's also close to Via Rail, Zoom Transit, and the newly Ontario LRT, offering speedy connections all over the GTA. A crucial element in the success of a condominium is choosing the right developer. Solmar Development Corp has been creating 5 master plan communities across the GTA for 3 decades. Solmar is known for superior quality, timeless beauty, and exceptional service. Solmar is also known for designing very efficient floor plans. The suite size mix in the tower is focused on affordability. There'll be many affordably priced suites to choose from due to their size. Bristol Place will offer a selection of suite designs with modern open concept layouts, spacious balconies, signature kitchens, and spa-inspired bathrooms. The lifestyle amenities at Bristol Place are designed to elevate body, mind, and spirit. It's rare to find all these elements in one place. Right next to the downtown Brampton GO train station, with convenient access to Union Station. The Brampton Innovation District will bring many new students and many new jobs. This will create more demand for suites in Bristol Place due to its location. Higher demand means higher appreciation. Higher appreciation and the most prestigious address in Brampton. Will you be one of the lucky buyers? Hope to see you soon at Bristol Place. Thanks very much. So, we as real estate agents have to set ourselves apart just the same way builders do. So you'll notice with Bristol Place, right? Tallest towers in Brampton. The only new pre-construction condo that's walking distance to the downtown Brampton GO train station. And then, of course, the Brampton Innovation District, where Brampton is going to become the #2 city in size in Ontario. And so where the growth is, that's where the money is. That's where you're going to see appreciation. So you have those major things that really set itself apart from other projects. The fact that it's right in the Brampton Innovation District, right in the core of it, where other projects are on the outskirts of Brampton, not right walking distance to it. And then, of course, Solmar branding, always choosing strategic locations, known for really good quality, known for really good after-sale service as well, known for really good floor plans. So whether we're a real estate lawyer, whether we're a mortgage broker, whether we're a real estate agent, we need to set ourselves apart from everyone else, so people will have an obvious choice why to choose us and not our competitor, right? Let's talk about what's going on in the market now. A little bit different time than what we're used to. There's a million different opinions on what's going on in the market. The banking industry always seems to have a little bit of different opinion than what we have in our industry about what's going on. But I want to talk about facts today and how I interpret these facts and where I see things going based on my decades of experience in this industry. So let's go with the first slide. So something that's really unique about Canada's economy today, we've never ever had this. I mean, I can remember when I was a kid back to 1981 when we had that interest rate crisis, mortgage rates at 21%. We can't imagine that today, but even thinking all the way back to then, I've never seen a situation where we have an energy crisis, a food crisis, and a housing crisis all at the same time. So we're going through a pretty tough time right now. Obviously, we have an energy crisis because the federal government is reducing the amount of energy that in the oil and gas industry that Canada is allowed to produce. They're also taxing the oil and gas industry quite a bit. And of course, we have the carbon tax, which was quadrupled in April, which is kind of crippling the cost of driving our car and a lot of goods. We have a food crisis going on because obviously farmers need a lot of energy to run those big tractors, to heat those massive big greenhouses or cool them. They use a lot of energy to get our food. And of course, our food has to come to market as well, which again costs money. So when you increase the cost of energy, you increase the cost of food for us to buy at the grocery stores, right? So then we obviously have the housing crisis, which we're all familiar with. We have two factors there that are driving the housing crisis. Obviously, we have overwhelming immigration, which I'm going to get into, and we have a shortage of homes that are being built and are available to move into. And when you have that balance, it puts upward pressure on prices. So I'm going to get into more details about these things. Let's just go to the next slide. So the negative things driving the economy right now are government debt, high taxes, record levels of immigration, a shortage of zoned land, and a shortage of skilled tradesmen. So these are more, real estate related, these last 2 points. So when we look at government debt, this is a thing that's really underplayed, I find, by the banking industry. But we've had some crazy government spending. We had in 2020, we had the federal government spend 30% above the ceiling that they were allowed to spend when they were doing their budget in 2020. So they had a $327,000 deficit in 2020. Now, normally in economics, when the government spends too much like that, they have to contract their spending in order to avoid having a recession coming, right? But the government expanded by another 27% in the next budget. Instead of contracting by, let's say, half is what they should have done, they actually expanded by 27%. And then they continued to spend, as you can see, with about $40 billion on the next year's coming, $40 billion in debt. And $40 billion is a massive amount of debt. Under the previous government, they were running at a $10 billion surplus for the last couple of years of their mandate, right? So 40 billion is a massive amount. And this particular government got elected on a campaign of not balancing the budget. The NDP were running on a balanced budget. The Conservatives were running on a balanced budget, and these guys were actually further left of the NDP, running with no plans to balance the budget. So we have extreme spending that's really the main cause behind the interest rates escalating. Immigration. So obviously, immigration is a major factor in our business and in the economy, and there's really positive things to immigration. I would think that most of us in this room are either immigrants or children of immigrants. My parents came from Scotland a couple of years before I was born, and so obviously immigration is great for Canada. But like anything, with sugar, salt, it's essential. If we have too much of it, it can kill us. And so immigration is just the same. It has positive and negative things to it. So the reason why the Toronto area has had the most expensive or second most expensive real estate in Canada and one of the most expensive places to buy in North America is because of immigration. And that was way back at 250,000 new Canadians a year. That number was making us really, really expensive, right? Now we have, much higher than that, obviously. We had just slightly under 300,000 in 2018. We had just slightly over 300,000 in 2019. During COVID, when they basically shut down the airports for that 6 months, we had almost, no immigration for that time, but then they really got it going and brought in 225,000, I think, in the second half or in the partial year. And then, of course, we had 500,000, about 500,000 in 21 and 22. And then we had last year 2.2 million new Canadians coming. That is a devastating number. Obviously, what that does, it puts huge pressure on government services, and it puts huge pressure on the housing industry as well. So if we go to the next slide. So population growth is now over 41 million. Back in 2020, we were at 37.9, and then we were just over 38, 38.5, 39.4, 39.5, and then this year at over 41 million. So we're expanding at an amazing rate, which again, there's good aspects to and negative aspects to as well. Let's go to the next slide. So some positive factors about today's economy. Of course, the supply chain issues have been improved and are almost solved now. We have a very strong demand for goods. Immigration's impact on real estate, the purchase of goods, and the purchase of non-government funded services is a positive thing for the economy. I've been told, I've read a number of times that if you factor in GDP by population, we've been in a recession for the last year and a half, if you calculate it that way. But we're seeing the numbers a different way, right? So it is very positive. It has those positive impacts. The unemployment rate was at a peak of 6.1%. Sorry, it's returned to 6.1% from a peak of 13.7 in May of 2020. So our unemployment rate is now back to a normal rate. So these are all very good signs for the economy and healthy things about the economy right now. And we can go to the next slide. When we look at the top industries in Canada, the way this IBIS World, this is how they calculate the numbers. If you actually add the 4 different oil and gas sectors together, they come at over 700 billion, and that's actually our biggest earner in Canada. And then we have commercial banking at number 2, and we have real estate at number 3, if you calculate it that way, at, where are we for real estate? 250 billion combined. So 173 for residential and 77 for commercial real estate. So this sort of shows us what the engine of Canada is. If we go to the next slide. So the pause in consumer confidence, that's obviously the problem in our real estate industry right now. That's what's hurting us the most. And obviously a rapid escalation of interest rates is the major thing that's behind it. Inflation on goods and services. If people go to buy a hamburger, they go to buy groceries, they go to buy a car, and everything is crazy expensive. That's going to impact their confidence in buying real estate, especially buying investment properties. If they have a mortgage and they're taking money out to buy a pre-construction condo, they may not want to do that because interest rates are so high and they don't know where they're going. Another one that's not often mentioned is the wars in Israel and Ukraine. We have a situation where Russia has nuclear weapons, Israel has nuclear weapons, and there's wars going on. That's going to make people nervous as well. Whenever we have wars going on in the past, it usually impacts consumer confidence in our real estate industry, especially when we're involved in them. And of course, political uncertainty. I always see, and it's not mentioned that often, whenever we have a provincial election in Ontario or we have a federal election in Canada, even when we have an election in the US, I always notice there's a pause, there's a little lull in sales before that happens because people don't know what's going to happen with that change. Is there going to be positive change? Is there going to be negative change? So it creates uncertainty. So we know we have an election coming in the States this November, and next October we have an election in Canada. There could be one, hopefully there would be one before next October in Canada, so we could see a change in economic policy, whether it's a new leader under the existing party or a new party running it. A change in economic policy would be really welcome right now for Canadians, I think. So there are some simple solutions. If you look at Kuwait, right? Kuwait has so much oil and gas, and a few years back, I'm not sure how they are now, but they were living like royalty because there was so much oil and gas in their country, and they were, enjoying the benefits of that. If we opened up our oil and gas industry, we could pay down our debt very, very quickly. I would say in less than 10 years, we can pay down our debt, and we could probably get rid of, reduce income taxes dramatically and get rid of a lot of other taxes if we opened up our oil and gas industry. But there isn't political will to do that. But it's just something that would solve the problem. And of course, something we can do, but there isn't the political will right now to do, is dramatically cut the size of government and government spending. Reducing taxes, I think everyone would welcome, but that would also help the economy. Usually in economics, when you reduce taxes, the government actually collects more taxes because it creates more business. It spurs more business to happen. And of course, returning immigration to a level of about 250,000 new Canadians a year based on a merit-based approach. We obviously need a lot of skilled trades. We always need nurses. There's certain trades and jobs we need, and we need to be focused on bringing people in who are going to contribute to Canada in a positive way. And then, of course, something that our provincial government has begun doing, and the federal government is attempting to participate in as well, is getting more zoning land faster, so we can put more houses out in the market to help as well. So those are some positive factors. So now the big question, what's going to happen with prices? This is one of my favorite things to talk about. It seems obvious to me that when you have overwhelming demand with 2.2 million new Canadians, of course, this year they're talking about reducing it by 300,000 students or temporary workers. Will they actually do that? I'm not sure. Even if they do, will 300,000 make much of a difference of 2.2 million? I'm not sure. But when you have overwhelming demand and you have a shortage of supply, it puts huge upward pressure on prices. We saw prices double between, taking Edge Towers, or Road Edge Towers, Edge Tower 1, 2, and 3. We launched Edge Towers in 2017 at 620 average per square foot price. And when we got to the peak of the market, about 4.5 years later, we were selling Edge Tower 3 for $1,350 a square foot. So on that project, if you take that as a sample, prices doubled over 4 years at 250, 300, 350,000 new Canadians a year. Prices doubled over 4 years, right? So now we have 2.2 million or 1.8 million. What do you think is going to happen over the next 4 or 5 years? It's obvious to me there's only one thing that can happen when you have overwhelming demand and a limited supply. Huge upward pressure on prices. So the good news for both us and our clients who own already is that prices are going to be dramatically increasing, and that's going to make a big difference for us. I think we need to hear good news like that and be confident about it. And the more information we have, the better we can talk to our clients and guide our clients in what to do. So basically, if our clients don't buy today, if our clients don't buy real estate for their kids today, they won't be able to afford to buy the same property in the same location, the same size 4 years from now. They're going to have to buy in Calgary, they're going to have to buy in the United States somewhere, or they're going to have to go back home to China, to India, to the Arab world, wherever they're from, if they're new Canadians, to buy there, because Ontario could become unaffordable. So we can make an amazing difference in our clients' lives right now if we can communicate to them so they can understand what's happening and they can find a way to buy. They have to use new strategies now, right, to buy. So before, you were taking equity out of your home, you were buying 2 or 3 investment pre-construction condos, you were staggering them over a few years with the closings, and your clients made, say, $200,000 each of those units. They did really well. Now they don't want to take money out of their home. So maybe now they have to partner with their brother, their friend at work, or a neighbor, to buy real estate. They have to find new ways. Maybe they have to invest in a fund with other people to buy pre-construction real estate or to buy other real estate as well. Maybe they have to buy a property that has a basement apartment and rent it out. They have to, if they're living alone in their own home right now, they have to take on new strategies, right? So it's great. It's great to think about those new strategies. And do that. We should go back to the other stuff. Yeah. So the question of when sales will improve is a big question. We know the interest rates came down a 1/4 point on June 6th, was it, I think? And we know the next announcement is July 24th. We're all hoping for a 0.25% reduction. We're hoping that it's going to spark the market. Our clients will come back out again to buy, and we can see activity return. So I'm hopeful that will happen. The problem is, I don't know if there's a catalyst for that to happen or not. They are talking, I think they will bring the rates down. They're talking about bringing the rates down another, I can speak loudly if you want. Okay, thanks. So they are talking about bringing the rates down another 3/4 points by the end of the year. So hopefully that will happen and that will spark things, right? But part of the problem is the measures the government are taking by raising interest rates don't solve the problem of government spending. Government spending is what's behind our problem. It's not irresponsible spending by the public that's responsible for this economic situation we're in, right? So that's where my doubt is, and I'm not sure how fast things are going to come back. Hopefully they're going to come back, in the next month or two. It may be a year more than that. So no one will know for sure, but they are going to come back. We know that for a fact that it will come back again. So we have to take steps now to be prepared for when that happens, whether that's next month or mid next year. So hopefully we're going to see the interest rates drop soon, and that will spark activity again. So, on that topic, we really have to think about what we're doing, because being a real estate agent, is like being an animal out in the wilderness or, everything else. You have to adapt or perish, right? We have to seriously look at what we can do to make money right now. The easiest way to do it is look at, sales aren't happening right now. What are those guys doing to make money? How are they marketing? How are they getting the clients? And then we need to do the same thing they're doing in order to make sales right now as well. We also need to be informed, of course, about the economy and about our submarket we're working in so that we can give the best professional advice as well. The other thing that I really found too was, we focus on, making money, and we all want to make lots of money. But in order to do that, you have to really love the things that you do that are going to make the money. It reminds me of Tiger Woods, right? Tiger Woods used to love to practice. He practiced and practiced and practiced. He would play 2 18-hole games, and then he would be, until dark, he would be at the range firing because he loved to practice. And that loving practicing is what made him the #1 golfer, right? So if we can start love doing the things we do to make money, whether that's cold calling, whether that's door knocking, whatever activity we're doing, we have to really love that activity and just focus on that. Don't think about the money, because the more you do that, the more money is going to come. It's just a matter of time, right? So that to me would be advice for you in this market. And then the other thing too is to remember why we came to work. I mean, the obvious question is we come to work to make money. So what that means is we shouldn't be spending lots of time in a coffee shop talking to 2 or 3 other agents or on our phone. We should be, managing our time so that we're doing the things that are going to make us money. But the deeper question about why we come to work is, why do we want to make that money? Not just to pay our bills. What really motivates you, why you chose real estate, why you chose to be a real estate lawyer, why you chose to be a mortgage broker. Some people want to make the money so they can help their families, buy real estate, their kids buy real estate. Some people want to make that money so they can be respected in the community. Some people want to be successful, so they can help people, help strangers. So if you know why you want to, why you want to be in this business, it's good to know that as well. Part of the reason I got into this business is because I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to be useful, right? So I chose real estate because, someone's house tends to be their biggest investment they'll ever have. And if I'm giving them advice to buy and sell that investment, I'm important to them. I'm being useful to them, right? So what drew me into the business was, helping people to become successful. And I've been very lucky. I've been able to help thousands of people make, a lot of money in their real estate over the decades. So knowing your why is really important. Knowing why you're in the business and what motivates you will obviously help. And then, of course, with motivation, motivation is the one of the most important things. A lot of the time, it's just about showing up. The guy who shows up in the right place at the right time gets a listing. The guy who shows up to work to do the cold calls, to do that 2-3 hours of cold calls every day, he's the guy that gets the buyers or gets a listing just by showing up. That's the hardest thing to do. So there's great books to read about motivation, power of positive thinking. There's books about visualization, manifesting things that way. I've read a lot of really interesting books, which I'm sure G1 has as well, which I'm sure he would recommend some books to read as well, which really position ourselves mentally to be indestructible. It doesn't matter what the market is. You're always going to make money. You're always going to be a real estate agent, and you're always going to be successful. So that's the key. So right now, I'll just end by saying we have some great opportunities at Bristol Place in Brampton. Our sales office is located just by Four Corners, just in the heart of downtown. We have some opportunities at Edge Tower 3 in Mississauga. We have some assignments in Edge Tower 2, and we have some MLS listings, three MLS listings in Edge Tower 1, which, as I mentioned, have a 3.99% 3-year fixed mortgage and no builder closing costs. So if anyone is looking for any opportunity to promote anything, if anyone wants to do any social media with me, you can always make an appointment with me. Come to the office and we'll do some social media videos together if you like. I'm happy to support you so you can make business and get clients. I think the key right now is to be active and to be ready for when the floodgates open. I mean, one last thing, you know, it was obvious to me, you know, after getting through the banking crisis of fall of 2008 to fall of 2009, the market was dead. And then the same with Kathleen Wynn's building more homes, I think, or building better homes, or 18-point plan, whatever it was, in 2017, May of 2017. You know, when she announced that plan, the whole market was dead for a year and a half. When things resumed, it was like the floodgates opened, and we saw multiple offers, 20 multiple offers on listings. Our buyers couldn't even buy anything. We saw pre-construction projects launching. You couldn't get your hands on on access to buy. So these times are coming back again. It's obvious to me the floodgates will open again, and we need to be prepared for those times. So that's basically what I had to say today. Hopefully it was interesting. Thanks, Julian.